Well, welcome to another video thinking about isolation and the challenges of being isolated. In our last video, we thought about being isolated with other people, with our families, and why we find that perhaps so difficult in and amongst the joys. But lots of us are isolated in very different situations. Some still able to get out and about each day and to enjoy communication with others at a distance, of course. Speaking from one side of the street to the other, maybe over hedges, through windows. Some of us isolated but able to connect with others through the internet or regular phone calls, video chats that we're able to see people. And then some of us isolated with very little communication, and all of us finding that difficult in different ways. Whatever our circumstances, it's difficult to be isolated and to be cut off, socially distanced, physically distanced from others. We've already been in isolation for over 4 weeks, another 2 to go at least. For many, it will be much longer than that. It's really difficult and a really hard time. And why? Why is it difficult for us to be isolated? Why do we find it so hard to be cut off from others? And I don't think it's just because it's new or different and we're not used to it. The Bible seems to indicate that there's something much deeper going on about who we are that makes social distancing so difficult. Because if we go back to the beginning of the Bible, as we learn and read there about who it is that made us and what we were made for, we find that we were made by community and we were made for community. We were made by community and for community. That's why isolation is so difficult. Social distancing is so hard, and why perhaps many of us are really struggling at this time. In the Bible, at the beginning, we read these words as God creates the world in Genesis chapter 1. God said, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness." We were made by community. Many people, when they think of God, think of some singular divine thing, some divine being out there with power and might and authority. The Bible, when it tells us who God is, shows us 3 persons in one God. Community. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. From the very beginning, this is who God is. In relationship, in unity, in communion and fellowship with each other. The Father loving the Son. The Spirit caught up in that loving union of 3, making up this one God. Each divine, and yet the 3 make this one God. We are made by community. Let us make man in our image, to be like us, because it is an us and an our. God is not just a singular being. We're made by community, and out of that we were made for community. We're made to be like God, to share in his relationalness. We're made to be in relationship with him and with each other. Just a chapter later, in Genesis chapter 2, we read God saying, "It is not good for the man to be alone." We're made for community. We're made to be in relationship and communion and to enjoy being with others, to be loved and to love others. We're made by community. We're made for community. And that's why isolation is so difficult, to be cut off from others, to have no relationship with others. Now, I'm not just talking about the intimate relationship between husband and wife, but any sort of relationship between friends and acquaintances and family and those younger and older than us and people who are different from us. We're made to be in this diverse and mixed, rich relational community. And that's where the church is such a wonderful thing. This is God's great idea to gather Now that's what church means, the gathering, the assembly of God's people, to gather together, to know God and to enjoy Him, to be loved by Him, and also to love one another, to enjoy the one who made us, and to enjoy the communion and the fellowship and the relationship with others that He made us for. We were made by community and we were made for community. And so anything less than that is not that which is best for us. Anything less than that deep, intimate relationship with God and with others is caused by, a part of, our experience of this fallen and broken world. It is not God's ideal for us that we're cut off from each other. And so if you're finding things hard right now, in many ways you should be. It is right that we find it hard. It is right that we find it difficult to be cut off from others, to be separated from them when we'd love to be close with, brushing shoulders with, sharing life with others. We love to be a part of the church. And it's a real shame that, yes, the church building is just a building, but it is the place where we gather regularly as God's people, and to be missing out on that. And other times when we meet together as God's people, it's really hard. We're missing out on the good things that God intended for us. So what are we going to do? How are we going to navigate and chart our way through these next weeks, possibly months of social distancing? How are we going to keep going in some way, some limited way? Well, the first thing to say is that God is still with us. God is still with us. We may be cut off from the normal ways, the good ways of interacting with Him, with others, but God is with us wherever we are, by His Spirit dwelling with us. I will never leave you or forsake you. I am with you even until the end of the age. God's love goes with us by His Spirit. Jesus meets with us still. And so we can enjoy fellowship with God. We can continue to come before Him in prayer and to speak to Him and to offer Him our joys and our sorrows, our worries and our concerns. We can pray to Him and give Him thanks and worship Him, even in our isolated situations. We can continue to read the Bible and there learn from Him and receive His revealed wisdom. We can continue to hear His words spoken to us and learn the things that He would teach us. And so we can continue to know relationship with the God who made us. And we can continue in some limited way as well to enjoy relationship with others, to live in community with others. Maybe not gathering with the frequency or in the same way as we would otherwise do, but still able to enjoy relationship with others, whether it's over the telephone or using some sort of internet app or program to speak to and to see others. But do pick up the telephone, call other people up, see how they're doing, offer to pray for them and with them, ask them how they're doing. And if you're feeling isolated and just wanting to have people to speak to, then yeah, you can make the call. You can call others. Or why not drop me a line, drop someone a line, someone you know and trust, and say, I'm finding things hard, and I'd appreciate someone calling me up and giving me regular phone calls, because we're made for each other. And it's incredibly difficult when we're cut off from that goodness of relationship and fellowship which we're made for. And then lastly, let's yearn and long all the more for church. Often I think people will leave church on a Sunday and we just can't wait to gather again, whether it's in the middle of the week or next Sunday. We can't wait to meet with other people. Now our longing and our waiting is, well, over a more extended period. But I trust that this will just lead to a greater desire, and it will be that much sweeter when we do finally meet again in person, gathered together as God's people. And so we look forward to that day. And we yearn for it and we prepare for it by, continuing to build those relationships, continuing to worship God and to know Him even in our isolated situations. And so I hope that, you know that we're standing with you, that we are in this together. We are missing out on the good life that God longs for us, and yet we can continue to enjoy much of it by continuing to worship God, continuing to learn from Him and to pray, continuing to build relationship with others in different ways at this time, and then longing, being really excited about that time where we can meet together again. Maybe you're watching this video and you're not plugged in regularly to a local church, then can I encourage you to make a real point when this is over, when restrictions are relaxed, go to your local church, somewhere where people will share the love of Jesus with you. That'd be a great place to be, to rekindle that experience of community, because that's what we were made for, because that is who we were made by. We were made by God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, in loving community, in loving relationship and unity, and we were made for love with others as well. I hope you have a really blessed day. Thank you for watching this, and I hope it's been of some encouragement to you. If you're finding things hard, please do be in touch. I'd love to give you a phone call, have a chat, and encourage you during these difficult and hard times. Every blessing.